shows where it's just like an episodic series, and it wasn't going to catapult in such a way that it has.
So it's been exciting to be on that road.
Yeah, you're nominated, I think, more in 2 categories.
Main type of theme and dramatic stuff.
So what was it like when you heard when the nomination came out for the show? What was your reaction initially?
I was super excited. I mean, they came out early, at like 8 a.m.
Yeah, they came out at 8 a.m. Yeah.
So I had just woken up. It's happening now. I was clicking on my phone. I was literally still in bed. I was like logging onto the phone, but then it's like it's a PDF. It didn't come up in Safari. So I'm like trying to figure it out, and then and I'm super excited. And then my phone started blowing up like crazy, like people texting me. So,
there you
go. Sorry, could you introduce yourself for the mic?
Oh, yeah. I am Leopold Ross, the composer of Shogun and Monarch, Legacy of Monsters.
Of the 2, if you had to play favorites, what's your favorite?
It's hard to say. I mean, Shogun is an incredibly well-received show. It's the leader of nominations in this year's Emmys, so it's really exciting to be on the kind of roller coaster of a show that's that level of popularity. But also Monarch is, being a part of the Monsterverse, the Godzilla franchise, is super rewarding as well because it's got such a die-hard fan base. So I can't really pick. I'm sitting on the fence.
With so much history and so many movies and properties that span internationally with the monsters, did that inform how you were writing the score? Like, did you feel like you had to be between various versions over the years that they've had in the movie?
Yeah, I mean, there was definitely a discussion going into the show about how do we stay true to the aesthetic and the legacy of what the Monsterverse is, and should we use the famous Akira Ifukube theme for Godzilla? But we made the decision that we wanted Monarch to kind of carve its own niche within the Monsterverse. So we decided we're going to do our own theme and kind of build our own sound that has some roots in what's come before, but is sort of carving a new path.
Character who's really appealing because he is.
Shogun has some really intense moments. What was your approach to creating music?
Understand why you want to side with the dark side.
Spoke to the heart of those moments.
So his music is both. It kind of represents chaos.
Honestly, it was a lot about
really violent,
finding the language. Like, we had a little bit of a luxury of time with Shogun because we came on pretty early. We came on before they shot the show. And then after they shot the show, it was a very long post-process because there was so much visual effects. So we had a little bit of a luxury of time, more so than you would on other shows, like regular TV shows. It's kind of tight deadlines, but we had a little bit of sandbox to be able to find, like, what's the language? Like, for example, when the shinobi attacks, what is the language going to be? Because we knew that we didn't want those intense moments to feel like they do in other shows. So a lot of it became about using space, like using silence as much as using sound, so that kind of became the language, almost treating violence as horror rather than action. So you don't have the groove going underneath, you just have the kind of you might have a percussive hit when someone gets stabbed, but then you just pull all the music out so you can hear the people screaming in horror, which is probably what it would be like in real life. Thank God I don't know.
what is your main source of inspiration?
But you also can't.
My main source of inspiration.
Yes. Over music, books, video.
And that doesn't change no matter what.
For me, it's just a way, I think, music has always been a compulsion for me. Like,
Yes.
I have to do it.
Okay.
I have to do it. Like, it's the only way that I can express myself, which my wife has a problem with.
Well said. Nice. Thank you.
I guess I don't know if that really answers your question, but it's just the
Yeah,
only
it's
way
good,
I know
yeah.
how to be myself is by making music.
It's
That's
good.
how I can feel like a normal person.
Thank you.
Oh, it's back to me. So, just to piggyback off this young lady's question, because she actually did kind of ask what I wanted to ask.
Okay.
Yeah, you did. It was because I love anything when it comes to music composition, because I feel like they're also the secondary actor of the scene, because they make the music makes the scene. And I've always wanted to know, like, when you come up with the scores in shows, you see the work first and then you come up with the music, or do you already have an idea in your head?
Generally, what I try and do, which is maybe not what most composers do, but I try and come onto a project as early as I possibly can, and like have a discussion with the director or the showrunner, and try and get if they have any like visual references that they've used before they're shooting, you know, and try and kind of just like immerse myself in their ideas and their material before they've shot the show, and then I'll go back and like use our conversations and as inspiration for my imagination, basically, and just write music based on being inspired by what we're about to do.
Okay.
You know, and then often those pieces that I'll make will be like the seeds of the score, you know, because I can also then make it a little bit more of a collaborative thing. So 'cause we can have our conversation, then I can make some stuff. I can send it to them while they're shooting, you know what I mean? And then, for example, on Shogun, that's what I did, and one of those pieces was what ended up being the main title theme. Like, the guy wrote back and he was like, that's it, that sound there, you know, and then it's like, suddenly you got like a little foothold and you can like run with it, basically, you know. That's not to say that like, it was just immediately put in like, that's the main title. We were still doing notes on the main title when we were finishing episode 10 of the show.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Nice.
So it was a long road, but that was the kind of seed that grew the plant or whatever of the score.
One last question before we move on. We did touch on, just to circle back, with the Emmy nominations that the show has, with 25 for the drama categories. We touched on this a little bit in our previous conversation, but just the fact that I don't want to call it the Little Engine That Could show because of how we discussed it before, but just the fact that it's getting this much momentum with the Emmy nominations, with the Astra TV nominations as well. What does that say to you about the fact that we love this show so much, especially as you pointed out, that this is a Japanese strictly spoken show? Everybody loves this program. What does that say to you about the fact that even the Academy is looking at this and goes, this is fantastic material?
I think it says that if you focus on quality above all else, it'll be recognized, which I feel great about. And I think it also says audiences are ready. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they're ready for you to do something different. It doesn't, I think if you're kind of brave in your approach, you can be rewarded.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Oh, we're still going.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
Well,
I mean, it's
actually, we've got a little game we like to play whenever we talk to a composer on the show, which is I want you to imagine that I'm a producer I've got a hot new property, a show, a Saturday morning cartoon show, let's say, about some dogs who live in an old West mining town in space. And you want to write the score. And you've got, we're on an elevator together, you've got 2 floors to pitch me your idea. What would that score sound like?
Oh my gosh.
That's a good one.
The idea that one word for every note.
I mean, this is going to be a kind of I don't know if this is going to be a bit of a letdown of an answer, but whenever I talk to people about doing the music, it's like,
Always about someone wrote this.
I don't say, hey, it's going to be this, hey, it's going to be that, because we don't know. Like, let's get
Finals of a piano competition
to work and let's try some stuff, because once we've got some music,
And that happened 2 years in a row.
then we can have something to talk about. Previous to that, it's just conversation, it doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? So I could say, yeah, it's going to be all didgeridoo or whatever, but it's like,
Not a bad answer. Right? You should have led.
I should have said that.
What kind of music it might be.
I mean, they might come to me with that idea, you know what I mean? Like, oftentimes they'll say, like, I really want it to be piano, I really want it to be orchestral, sorry. But yeah, for me it's like finding the sound of the show during a process of feeling my way through the dark. And I don't put any limitation what that is. Like, it could be the didgeridoo. If that's the thing that works, then that's what works.
Fair enough.
A lot of composers borrow from one another. Do you have any composers that you often go back to for inspiration?
It's tough. I don't know. I'm not really sure about that one, to be honest. I'm not musically trained enough to be able to do that.
When you need inspiration, what do you do?
Honestly, I like to step away from the music. I like to get out of the studio, because music is, composing rather, is a very labor-intensive job, meaning like the hours that you have to put in is a lot. So I try and break away from that and just do something completely different, like go and walk my dog.
I was going to say, go stare at a tree.
Yeah, go outside, basically, because so much of the job is sitting in a dark room watching the screen, 18 hours a day. So it's, if I can get away and switch that part of my brain off, then when I come back I can kind of have a bit of fresh perspective about what I'm doing wrong.
What would you say, has your process changed from some of your earlier work to now through Shogun? Or has it been relatively the same?
I think Shogun differed in that I used a lot of live instrumentation and recorded many period authentic Japanese players. And it was really inspiring working with the Japanese arranger Taro Ishida. He was in Tokyo. It was all done in COVID, so we were zooming together. He had the players in Tokyo, and I was here. But it was really inspiring working with live instrumentation, and it's something that I haven't done that much of. So it's something that I want to do more of going forward.
Which is your French what is your French favorite director?
My favorite French director?
Yes, because I am French, so.
Okay.
And why?
My favorite French director? Oh my god. You're going to show me up because I don't know their names.
Okay, so.
Who did La Piscine?
I don't know. Maybe there's one French movie that you like.
I like La Piscine.
La Cuisine. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That director.
Thank you.
I think we're wrapped up.
I think we're wrapped up.
Yeah.
Leopold, thank you so much. Appreciate it.